Hey guys, I'm Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. So today we got our last order of meat chickens in the mail and they ended up shorting us. Yeah. So I ordered 25 chickens and the invoice said it was going to send 25 plus one in case one died, 26. We only ended up getting 18. So this is my first time ordering from the Meyer hatchery in Ohio. And the order got here 2 days, no problems. All the chicks look healthy. Just looks like somebody didn't pack enough chicks in there. So when you order from these hatcheries, you got to pick a date that the chicks will be born on and when they ship them out to you. And sometimes you really don't have much choice on the flexibility. So they ship on a Monday. The order showed up on a Wednesday. I had to take a day off work so that I could pick them up from the post office today. So since I've got the day off work, I'm going to try to do some other things that I haven't been able to get to around here. So mostly what I'm going to work on today is going to be the garden. It is actually in pretty sad shape. We've got vines growing up the fence all the way around the garden, and all the raised beds are just filled with weeds. So it's pretty sad shape, but we've got some things that we need to harvest today. I know we've got a bunch of onions to harvest and a bunch of potatoes. And then the corn, the sweet corn, it's almost ready too. So we're going to focus most of our day out here. All right, I grabbed a few buckets and a kneeling pad. So go ahead, I'll probably start with the onions. We got some onions that, some of them look pretty big. So we may end up frying one up tonight as a blooming onion. So here's the bed of onions that we're going to pick today. These are sweet Spanish yellows. This is probably one of the biggest ones right there. About a little bigger than baseball size. There's another big one back here. Yeah, it's not quite as big. But probably each one of these, the average is probably 3 inches in diameter, which is not a bad size for an onion. Some of them actually may not pull through. There it did. Some of them may not want to pull through the fabric. We may have to pull the fabric up. And then the other bed of onions, I just got done weeding it. They haven't fallen over like these have. And these had a lot of weed competition. These are Candy Hybrid. They're a long-term storage onion. And I'm gonna let these go a little bit longer and see if they get any bigger. Well, I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver so I can lift this fabric up because it's screwed down on the sides. We've got a total of 15 onions that are too big to pull through. Would prefer to have them grow on top of the fabric rather than under like that. Basically just got some thin pieces of wood here like furring strips. Clamping that down. All right, got 3 5-gallon buckets full of onions. Let's go lay these out, see what it looks like. All right, there's all the onions we just picked out of that bed. This one right here is probably one of the biggest onions. I tried counting them. I got 97, so it's somewhere close to 97. I think it was around 105 originally planted, and I know we've been eating a few out of there. So just under 100 we harvested today. So this is a drying rack that I use, and I typically use it for the potatoes. I think I'm gonna make a drying rack real quick that's made just for drying onions. All right, we're gonna cut some 1.5-inch wide strips. So I cut some strips that are 1.5 inches wide, and then we're gonna space those about just 1 inch apart from each other. And then I got some 2-inch wide strips that we're going to just screw everything together with. So I'm just going to use the router and I'm going to put a chamfer on the inside edges so that it has a nice surface for the onions to sit on. So I went ahead and I just sanded it so that it's easier to knock the dirt off later. And we're just gonna hang these in here, tops down. We're gonna let them dry for a few days. And then once they've dried pretty good, we'll cut the tops off most of the way. And then we'll figure out how we're gonna store them. Well, you guys can probably tell, I actually had a pretty hard time trying to get these all to fit on this rack. Had to kind of squeeze them in there. But I think that'll work out fine. We can let those dry on there for probably a week or so, and then we'll have that for at least some of the potatoes, but I don't think they're all gonna fit on there. Well, it's been a few hours now. I went ahead and I weeded for a couple hours, and you should see the amount of weeds that I have picked. So here is the tractor bucket. It is completely overflowing with weeds. I think that is probably 4 wheelbarrow loads of weeds, and I've just got about half of the side over here. So, so I've got this bed here weeded. That is including weeding the onions and that potato bed down there, and a little bit of the strawberry bed. And I got so hot out here, I ended up going inside for a little bit and do some editing. But I come back out now. Rebecca just got home from work, and it's all cloudy now, right? And we actually have storms coming in. It has been a very rainy July. I know a lot of people haven't had a lot of rain, and we've had fairly good rain this last month. And today was the only day that it was actually supposed to not rain. And so I thought it was a good day to take off. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna try to get these potatoes harvested, because I think I've got an hour or so before the rain hits. So I'm gonna go ahead and start digging these potatoes up, and hopefully we can get as many as I wanted. I was wanting somewhere close to 200 to 250 pounds. I know I was shooting for quite a bit, and I've got a feeling I'm not gonna hit that. Because there was just so much competition from weeds, and June was actually really dry. So the potatoes didn't come, have a very good start at the beginning. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna go ahead and start digging up these potatoes. So I put this fabric down on the garden. That way I only have to pull weeds a couple times a year. But the thing is, this year I never pulled up the fabric. I left it exactly where it was, and I think all the weed seeds from last year ended up collecting in each one of the holes in the fabric. So every one of the holes has weeds that are just coming back and coming back. So I think my lesson learned from this experience is, one, I should pull the fabric up and get the ground tilled up. I should have probably added some compost if I could have, and rearrange the fabric. That way the holes are not exactly where they were last year, and I think that will really help on the amount of weeds we have. This is probably the worst year we have had for weeds, and I think that's because we did not move the fabric. So the potatoes, they probably could have been dug up probably 2-3 weeks ago. They've about completely died off. So I've got a total, I think, of 7. I think it's 7 varieties planted. So we're gonna go ahead and dig these all up, and we'll see how well they did and which varieties ended up doing the best. So this raised bed here, this is Huckleberry Gold. See how many we can find. These are ones that are purple on the outside, gold on the inside. Nice purple looking potatoes. Can't wait to try these out. Now somebody's gonna tell me I need to be using a potato fork, and we broke that last year. So I was hoping to put a new handle on it. Haven't got there. I'd like to find some good hickory handles to replace these junk tools, or these junk handles with. Oh, all right. There's a real good size one right there. Not bad. All right, there's all the Huckleberry Golds. They're not a bad size. There's only about 1/3 of a bucket though. So this actually mostly just grew along the back. Most of the front didn't grow. And I think that has to do with I cut the potatoes up when I planted them, and most of them had dried up by the time I got them in the ground. I think that's mostly my fault. So this bed right here is Gold Rush. You can see a lot of the plants are actually still up. And we'll see how these do. All right, well, I ended up cutting one of these in half. I think that's one plant right there. They're kind of like a Yukon Gold, something similar, I guess. See how many this bed produces. That's actually a nice size one there. Oh, there's another nice size one. Oh, there's another one. These actually have done fairly good so far. Just the first couple plants, but. So this one plant right here had several. That's pretty good. I'm liking the Gold Rush so far on the production side. All right, just finished digging up the Gold Rush potatoes. We ended up getting a whole 5-gallon bucket off of this 3x8 raised bed. Quite a big difference from the Huckleberry Golds. All right, the wind has picked up and we got the storm rolling in, so I think I'm probably done working out in the garden today. I've got 2 out of the 6 raised beds dug up, so I've got a few more to go. But I'm gonna go ahead and head back to the barn. We're gonna check on the baby chicks real quick before it rains. See how the baby chicks are. They all seem to be fine. None of them laying on their side or anything. They're all moving around. I think we're good. So I know a lot of people don't have any rain, and we have been blessed with a lot of rain over the last month. So when we went on vacation to Missouri, we went over to Branson, Missouri, it was crazy how dry everything was. Like everything looked dead. Everything was brown, it wasn't green, and it's just one state away. It is crazy how much difference there is in one state. I watched Living Traditions homestead video today, and they showed how dry it was and how everything was dead, and it is just crazy. I know Texas is bad. There's a lot of places out here in the country that's bad, and we have been blessed to get rain. So this here is, I think, the biggest onion that we grew. I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna cut this up, and we're gonna make a bloomin' onion out of it. Rebecca's cutting it by hand. This may take a little while. She's gonna soak it in this ice water for a few minutes before we bread it. So we're making some dipping sauce for the bloomin' onion. Got some mayo and some horseradish sauce. I think there's a few other things. Ketchup is one of them. So we got this recipe off of allrecipes.com, and we'll tell you how it turns out. Well, it looks like dipping sauce. Tastes similar to a dipping sauce. It's not 100% right, but pretty close. All right. Well, it's got a, this is like a 2-part thing. This is actually something we bought, like an onion, like a bloomin' onion or fried onion mix. And basically you batter the onion and get it coated, and then you have a dry mixture over here that you bread it in. All right, I'm getting the oil heated up here in the Dutch oven, and then we'll get this fried up. So it is the next day. I had to go to work today, and when I got home, I harvested another bed of potatoes. I've got the 3 biggest beds, all the corner beds, I've got those left. So it's gonna take me a while to finally get all of those harvested and see how many potatoes we ended up with. But I almost got another full 5-gallon bucket today. and we'll just have to wait and see how that all turns out. I just got a feeling I'm not going to end up with as many potatoes as I was hoping for. So I've had a lot of people ask about the dogs. The dogs are doing fine. It's just in the middle of summer, we're out here working in the heat, and it is just, hi Sydney, and it is just too hot for the dogs to be outside running around in this hot weather. So, of course, right now it is in the evening, it's almost 7 o'clock. So this is when the dogs normally roam around. And, but the dogs are doing fine. They just, better for them to be inside in the air conditioning during the middle of the day when most of the time when we're filming. Sit. Good boy. All right. Good boy. Sydney, can you sit? Good girl. Good girl. Who wants to shake my hand? Sydney wants to shake my hand. Good girl. Oh, it's competition all the time. All right, it's 350 degrees. See if we can get this in here and turn it upside down. Yes, just like that. And I'm not sure how many minutes this will take to fry, but basically we just got to hold it in the oil. Actually, I don't think the oil is deep enough for it to move too much. So when Maggie, our little dog, when she was a puppy, I taught her how to beg. And I'd get her to stand on her hind feet and get her to like walk in circles and treat her. Well, now she begs for food all the time. And I decided I would never do that mistake. And we have not treated these dogs while we are eating. Sometimes after we're done eating, we'll give them something. But we wait until after we're done eating if we're going to actually give them something. And they don't beg for food. And that is a good thing. So, lesson learned. Don't teach your dog how to beg, because then they think they deserve food off the table every day. All right, it's probably been a couple minutes. I'm gonna flip this over, take a look at it. Not the biggest onion in the world, but I think that'll be a nice snack right there. Pretty good. It's hard to have onions that are big enough out of your garden to really do this with. In fact, this one is probably a little bit small to really be able to do this, but it is a nice treat. And this was a bought and mix. We've done it before with making your own, like mixing up flour and different things and making your own, and it turns out pretty good. A little bit of effort involved, but pretty nice little treat. And it seems light. To me, it seems light because it's not just an onion, right? This seems like you could eat the whole thing and still be hungry. So I still have quite a bit more to do out here in the garden before I'm caught up. We've been focusing this year, you know, we fenced in that area up front. We've got the steers, we've got the pigs, we've got the meat chickens. We've been focusing on all the animals and cutting hay, which hopefully we're gonna do that again here in a week. And the garden has kind of been not the priority this year. So it hasn't been taken care of very well. And you can tell that from all the weeds that have grown up in here, all the vines growing up on the fence. But hopefully I'm gonna get the time to start going through here, get everything cleaned up, get the potatoes harvested. And then once that happens, I'll probably make another video. I wanna show, we grew 7 varieties. I wanna show how well they did, which ones did good, which ones didn't do good. And I really wanna show you what we're doing to store them, because what we ended up doing last year, we did something totally new last year, and it just changed everything, made the whole process easier if you're wanting to freeze or can your potatoes, or even dehydrate your potatoes. The whole thing of processing the potatoes was just so much easier. And I think I'd like to show that to you guys because it was definitely a game changer. But I'm gonna wait for another video to show you guys that. I have been working out here in the garden. I do have another bucket full of weeds that needs hauled off. I'll probably end up with another couple buckets before I'm over with. And the sweet corn will be here pretty soon too. We'll be harvesting that here in another week or so. But I think that's going to be it for today's video. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Come here. Oh, this is Scout. Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down. Okay, good boy. No, you're so, oh my goodness. He knocked me down. Oh, you're supposed to be good. Hey, can you be good? Hey, can you be good on camera? Look at the dust fly off of you. Hey, you're supposed to be good on camera. All right. So, Scout.